Welcome, dear viewers of Turkish Spotlight Secrets, your trusted corner for unraveling the private longings, off-camera turbulence, and whispered bonds of Turkey's brightest names. Before we enter the deep core of this stirring tale, make sure you're subscribed, tap the bell to never miss a beat, and, if you want to stand behind our deep dives into celebrity lives, hit the join button. Your presence and support keep these hidden threads from vanishing into silence. Today's story has the softness of a poem and the weight of a confession. It is serene on the surface, stormy underneath, and written in the glances and pauses of two people the audience has cherished as a pair, Yagmur Yüksel and Baris Baktaş. For days, everything around them sat in ritual quiet. Then, without warning, Yagmur dropped a hint so small you'd almost miss it, an image of an open book, a line underlined in ink. Small in form, deafening in meaning. A sentence that hummed like a bruised heartbeat, the kind you can't hear until you hold your breath. It read, "Love doesn't switch off in a night, you simply learn how to carry the hollow it leaves." No names, no tags, only the ache tucked into a highlighted fragment and released into her stories. She didn't need to say who it was for. The internet did the math in seconds. The name that filled the comments belonged to one person alone, Baris. Those who have followed the slow-blooming closeness that began on set, those tentative smiles, the shared laughter when the cameras cut, the careful distance in interviews that never hid what eyes were already saying, knew the sentence did not float freely. It had an address. It felt like a truth placed on a doorstep in the middle of the night. Their bond, born under hot lights and long days, had always been both public and fiercely guarded, magnetic and restrained. They didn't declare anything, and they didn't really need to. But about a month ago, something fragile snapped. First came the gap, no words, no subtle likes, no adorable behind-the-scenes sparkles. Then the final, undeniable signal, the mutual unfollow. After that, the void became the story. No interviews, no clarifications. Two orbits moving apart, at least to the naked eye, until that underlined line on a page. When the image landed, the reaction was volcanic. Thousands poured in with messages as if they were answering a letter. Some read it as a soft confession, "We know who you mean." Others tagged Baris, half daring, half pleading, inviting him to speak. He did, carefully. Not by responding directly, not by naming names. He posted a black and white sunset, the horizon a thin blade of light, and wrote, "Silence burns, and still, it's the only language I can speak." In an instant, one quiet post became a mirror for another. The surface cracked, and everyone peered into the waters beneath. It was as if the two were writing in code through images and captions, a dialogue and metaphors for anyone who had ever loved and lost. One of Yagmur's close friends confided to a local outlet that the actress has been pouring herself into work to steady her footing. What she shared with Baris had roots, the friend said. Putting distance between herself and that reality hasn't been easy. She leans on books because they help her breathe. It isn't the first time Yagmur has used literature as a shield and a window. This time, the underlined thought landed like a held-back cry finally slipping out. Colleagues couldn't look away. Actress Melissa Dongle remarked that nothing in Yagmur's feed is ever casual. "She's thoughtful, tender, intentional," Melissa said. "A line like that isn't a coin toss. It was meant." Meanwhile, Baris quietly stepped out of the spotlight. His only appearance of note came at an awards night. Asked about Yagmur, he answered with gentleness wrapped in restraint, "There are times when the wisest answer is to keep quiet." It was the same tone as the sunset post, tight and simple, like a sentence etched into a journal and shut away. If this labyrinth of feelings pulls at you, don't forget to like the video, leave your thoughts below, and subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Your encouragement lets us bring you these stories with more care, more nuance, more heart. And tell me, do you think Yagmur is speaking to Baris between the lines of those images? Just when the hush felt like it had reached a crescendo, a new ripple stirred everything up again. Yagmur uploaded a photo of a crescent moon pendant held in the palm of her hand, glinting against a soft sweater. Beneath it, a line that sounded like a lighthouse in a storm. Even a sliver of glow can guide you through a night that refuses to end. Anyone who has watched them closely recognized the pendant. It was the piece she often wore during interviews and appearances while working alongside Baris. Accidental? A whisper? A memory folded into metal? The comment sections turned into a chorus of questions. Hours later, as the city slept, Baris answered with motion, a short, serene video of waves folding into shore, a piano drifting in the background. The caption was simple and devastating: imagine a world where we never learned the word goodbye. Within minutes, it went everywhere. Fans clipped it, reshared it, slowed it down. The symbols were impossible to miss: moon and sea, night and hush, absence and the ache of things unsaid. It looked and sounded like a book written in alternating chapters, the kind you binge and fear to finish. The media took their place in the audience, too. Are Yagmur and Baris letting grief speak on their feeds? Read one headline. When a breakup becomes poetry told through captions and horizons, read another. A prominent entertainment journalist argued that the two had turned their split into a story no one could stop watching, not because of spectacle, but because it was so human in its restraint, present in what wasn't said as much as in what was. Then came the rumor with no proof, only breath and heat, a private meeting, allegedly arranged by a producer both know well. No photos. No video. Just one quiet account from someone who claimed to be in the room. They didn't rush. They looked at each other for a long time. No words were needed, but you could feel everything. It may be hearsay, but for those already reading in metaphors, it landed like another page in a diary you're not supposed to see. Work resumed, as it always does. On set, people described Yagmur as steady and committed, but turned inward more often than before. She joked, she listened, she delivered, and yet there was a part of her that seemed to be standing at a window even in crowded rooms. Baris plunged ahead with his next steps as well. Rumors circled that he's circling a major film, and those who crossed paths with him said something similar. He felt changed, more contemplative, like a chapter had ended in the middle of a sentence and he was still holding the period in his palm. Fans lined the digital sidewalks with signs written in captions and threads. Some begged for a reunion, even if it came quietly and privately. Some asked for a conversation, one moment of truth between them, even if it turned out to be their last. Others urged the kind of love that chooses distance where closeness wounds, writing under one of the posts, sometimes kindness is letting go and not looking back. Whatever side they chose, they were moved. Maybe because so many of us know what it is to sit with words locked behind our teeth, to carry a feeling that only grows heavier the longer you say nothing, to find meaning in the smallest sign, a circled sentence, a grainy horizon, a pendant shaped like a moon. There's a reason this has struck a nerve beyond the usual headlines. The tenderness of it, the care inside the quiet, the way two people can speak across a room without speaking at all, it all feels like a mirror. Whether you root for a second chance or for the peace that comes when both people finally exhale, you can't help reading their choices like clues. Are they closing a door with ceremony? Or are they tracing their way back by the light of small symbols, testing the lock by hand before they decide? And so the question hangs in the air, pale and stubborn as a last thread of moonlight draped over the sea: is this an ending, or the sketch of a beginning that only looks like an ending from far away? Will this remain a conversation in photographs and stray sentences, or are they saving the real words for a room where no one else is listening? Thank you for spending this time with us inside a story told by glances and fragments. If you felt the pull of it, tell us below. Can you see Yagmur, Yüksel and Baris Baktaş finding their way back, or has the part of their tale that belonged to us already reached its final page? Remember to subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, give this video a like, and, if you want us to keep tracing the delicate edges of stories like this one, support the channel by tapping the join button. In the world of stars, nothing is ever over for good, not while a single caption can open a door you thought was closed, not while a quiet horizon can still look like hope. For now, they keep moving through their days. She underlines a thought in a book and breathes a little easier. He watches the sun go down and says almost nothing, which somehow says more than a paragraph could. Maybe they will find one another again around a corner we can't see yet. Maybe they will leave each other be, and carry the lesson instead. Whatever happens next, it will arrive the way so many true moments do, softly, almost like a secret, then suddenly obvious, the way a pendant catches light and turns a room gold. Until then, we'll be here, watching the tide and listening to the space between words, ready for the next sign, ready for the next chapter, ready for the next quiet answer they decide to share.